Well, who we have here on a Monday morning? Is that Steve Roderick from JGS Insurance?
Indeed, it is Mr. David Velasco from JGS Insurance.
Oh,
To be here.
wow, that's where I work too. Hey, do we have any guests today or we're just chilling?
I'm really happy about today's episode, and we get an opportunity to do this because he's not a guest; he's a friend. This is somebody we've known for years, and he's such a great personality in the industry. I'm just so happy to have him back again. Now, this is the only person we've ever had on for 3 episodes. Larry Thomas was our pilot episode over 2 years ago. We've done over 100 episodes. I think we're up to 103. And Larry agreed to come back and speak with us again. Larry, thank you so much. Thank you for being here again.
My pleasure to be here with you guys. I enjoy doing this. I enjoy seeing you guys, and you guys do a great job with this. And I'm flattered that you asked me to come back for the 3rd time.
When we started over 100 episodes ago, did you ever think that we'd be still doing car chat 2 years later?
I kind of did. I kind of had a feeling that this thing was going to take off and people would enjoy it and it would catch on. And as your audience grew and your celebrity interviewed people grew, I see it going for another 103 episodes. And maybe I'll be back for a 4th and 5th time.
So who should we have as a famous person? Who do you recommend would be a highlight guest for 2023?
Oh, geez. So that you haven't had already? How about Nicole Martone?
We are discussing having her as a guest for sure.
Paul Wojciechowski?
He's on the book.
How about David Orr? David Orr works down in North Carolina. He was my first boss. Well, my first boss at First Service. Dave's a leader in the industry. Dave would be a great interview.
All right. Well, for sure, we'll get in touch with him and discuss that. So, Steve, can you tell us a little bit about what Larry's doing these days? Do you know?
No, I can't. I have no idea what Larry's doing. But no, I have no idea. But I got to say, and not just from our region, but on a national level, Larry, you've been such a presence and such a personality, and you've had a long and really long career. I got to say.
Call me old is what you're doing. You're calling me old.
just a little.
That's okay. That's all right.
Can you share with our viewers some of your accomplishments?
Well, I got in the industry by mistake like everybody else did back in the day and saw that it was a good career. I kind of liked it. I think one of my first realizations to be successful in the industry was to get my accreditations through CAI, which I did. Got my PCAM in 1997, and that was a starting point for me really getting serious in the industry. That went a long way for my interviews, went a long way with my business partner friends when other communities or other management companies were looking for a manager. So I think that was quite an accomplishment. And then probably my biggest accomplishment was when I was asked by Marie Mira and Fran McGovern and Larry Sauer and Denise Becker, God bless her soul, to be the executive director for CAI New Jersey. That was a big door to walk through and really opened up a lot of channels and opportunities for me to meet people and really grow in the industry. So getting my credentials and being the CAI executive director for 5+ years.
Which you did a fabulous job at, if I might say so.
Well, I can also add that Angela and the crew are top notch over there. People have to take advantage of that resource. It's almost free. There's a small fee to be a member, annual dues or whatever, but they do an excellent job. Amen. My job was easy. It was kind of broke when I got there. I just had to put some things in place and create a culture and a mindset for what we did over. But Angela and her crew do an excellent job.
Amen.
So, talking about this, because now you're no longer doing chapter executive. You worked as of recently for a very well-known management company, Talent Management. Mm-hmm. But I was just asking Steve a minute ago, what do you do? And he wasn't able to answer. So tell us a little bit about the new chapter of your life.
It's an evolving story. Retirement, I don't think anybody really knows what that is until you get there. Figuring it out, my wife and I, we sold a big house in Island Heights, a lot of property, and we moved into a 55 and older down in Little Lake Harbor, which is a little different, culture-wise and traffic-wise and speed-wise, but we really adjusted to it, and we're doing well down here. I volunteer for a place called the Lizzie Rose Music Room. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's an old Victorian house in Tuckerton that was converted to a concert arena, indoor arena, and I volunteer. I go in there and do usher and clean the bathrooms and sanitize the seats, and that's fun. There's good music there, and I made some friends here with mutual interests. So every day it's not planned, but it just happens. And play pickleball, play pool on Wednesday nights. People come over. I have an extensive music library, pool table, ping pong table, everything in my basement. So it's good. It's very non-committed, but there's always something to do here.
Tell us, do you have any plans to continue to have an impact on the community association world?
I do, as needed. Like before our call, we were discussing it. I do get calls from people on a national level. When I was at CAI, I did make a lot of acquaintances with people on a national level in the industry, and I do get calls from people, can you help us out with this, or would you do this? So maybe yes. I would say yes. I'm not completely going to divorce myself, and a year from now they're going to say, hey, whatever happened to Larry Thomas? I'm still going to show my face, still going to make bad jokes, insult people. That's what I do. I do it very well.
Nobody quiets a room like Larry Thomas, because Larry Thomas isn't going to speak until that room is quiet. I'm telling you that right now.
Believe me, that's worked for me and against me. But I refuse to talk over people when somebody has something to say. It bothers me.
So I got something to say. Can I?
Sure.
I just want to make sure I don't get yelled at. Just checking on things. You're going to keep a foot in the industry, as we're all expecting. I imagine we're going to see you in Texas for National CAI.
I'm not sure about that yet. Right now, it's on my dime. So I don't know if I'm going or not. So.
All right, well, we'll see. Hopefully, maybe. It's a big maybe. End of the year, December last year, we're all talking about reminiscing about the things that were good, funny about the year. You look forward, taking the lessons of the failures from last year as well, and trying not to repeat them this year. What were some lessons you've learned along the way in your career? What are some of your failures that we in the industry could benefit from?
I think maybe not a failure, but maybe a shortfall of mine would be always looking for another opportunity right away. As soon as I started the job, I would, well, what else is out there? Every time I made a job change, I would climb up the ladder a little bit. I did take one lateral job when I first got into business. Back in 1983 or 1984, Elaine Murray hired me to be the maintenance supervisor at Concordia in Monroe Township. And that was my first foot in the water in this industry. I never got out of it. But I would say, talk to yourself, talk to your friends, talk to your spouse, and make sure this is the industry you want. There are some evening times, there are some weekend calls that are going to give you heartburn and put you in a bad mood. It's a great industry, and if you're the person that can handle that, your personality and your family and your surroundings, your immediate surroundings, then make the most of it. Go out there and do the best you can. Some people are happy just working 5 days a week, 9 to 5, very few calls on weekends, and that's all they wanted to do. Other people, like myself, wanted to grow. Always find another step on that ladder, which I think my personality wouldn't let me not do that.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. And once again, Larry's wearing his heart on his sleeve. He's the transparent, he's the honest, genuine guy out there. And we've had you on now. This is the third time. Is there anything left? Is there anything else that our audience might not know about Larry Thomas? Can you share like something that they may not know about you?
Is this PG or is this art? How's this rated?
PG-13, let's put it that way.
Let me go back to the Davis question about, do I resent anything? I do. I got out of business in the year 2000, and I built hockey rinks all around the world. I built one in Flemington. I built one in Moscow. I built one in Tel Aviv. And I realized that this wasn't for me. It was a lot of hours on the business side of it and making sure people got paid, paying electric bills in July, $12,000 when there's nobody on the ice at the hockey rink. So I got back in this industry. Mary Faith and Rick Fry over at RCP gave me a job managing a small condo. And then from there, I just grew. But I do probably resent losing that few years of growth or exposure in the industry.
Okay.
Well, that was David's question. What was your question?
No, I was just wondering if there's anything else that we didn't know about Larry Thomas.
I call myself a music aficionado. I really like classical rock and some jazz. I have an extensive collection. I have an extensive collection of vintage stereo equipment, probably 3,000 CDs, probably 1,000 albums that are all perfectly cleaned in anti-static sleeves and rated green for go, yellow for not so good, and red stop, don't play this record. So they're all rated, they're all sorted alphabetically, and I listen to them every day.
Wow, it's like you have yourself a mini museum. And for David's benefit, a CD is a small silver disc that you use to insert into a machine to play music on.
How about an LP? You know what that is, David?
I'm going to leave that there.
LP, long playing 33 1/3 record, vinyl record.
I have vinyls in my office upstairs. Actually, matter of fact, I may have CD in here.
No, it's not pants. You know you have vinyl pants. These are vinyl records.
Oh, my bad. Oh, well, moving on. If you were going back to being 35 years old, what would you do different?
Geez, that's a great question. Thanks for asking that.
35 is only 2 years ago, right?
35, double that. No, again, I'm transparent. I'm 71, so 35 years ago, I was like 3 years in the industry. Elaine Murray hired me, and it just took off from there. But, back then, we had to figure things out. We didn't have the resources we have today.
true.
There's a few of us that were around. We didn't have a lot of PCAMs. There was a few attorneys around, at Dave Ramsey's, the Wendell Smiths, the Fran McGoverns, Richard Kennedy. Again, he left us, but he was a great resource. So we kind of banded together, regardless who you worked for, and we figured these things out. It wasn't a standard operating procedure or best practice for this. It didn't exist. Yeah. So that was kind of fun. What I see differently and how would I do things differently? The boards wouldn't let their managers go to educational seminars during the day. They wanted that manager sitting in that chair because that's what they were paying for. And I think that's changed a little bit. I hope it has. Let your manager, they're not going to Disney World. They're going to an educational seminar for half a day. Let them go. Let them get all the education they can. So I wouldn't do things any differently. I wouldn't get out of the industry for that short period that I did. And I would always look to better myself and move up the chain in the industry.
Yeah, that's a very good point you bring up about, back then you guys didn't have the resources that are available today. You didn't have the information and it wasn't shared as quickly. So the managers out there who were operating portfolios, they didn't have that information. They didn't have the ability to go out and ask questions so quickly. So yeah, they must implore them to really take advantage. Now, Larry, we'd like you to give a shout out to somebody. We've had you on a few times now, and we'd like to hear who you'd like to bring up in this industry. Do you have anybody you'd like to plug or just to recognize?
In the industry or in my personal life or either or?
Anything. The microphone's yours, Larry. Go for it.
Well, again, a lot of people that know me know I'm old. I'm 71. I got married when I was 20, so I'm on my 51st year of marriage to the same woman. Not multiple wives in there, 51 years of continuous marriage with the same person. And my wife has completely backed me every step of the way. Taking a job for less money. In 1973 to 1983, I was a janitor in a chemical plant. And I said to myself one night, what the hell are you doing? You got to get out of this. Hence, I'll back up in my story of today. I saw an ad in the paper. We had ads in the papers back then. It wasn't Indeed. It was all Asbury Park Press. And I saw an ad for a maintenance supervisor for less money than I was making. And I took that job and I got my foot in the pool and grew from there. My wife, she blessed every one of my moves along the way. There were some crazy moves in there, building hockey rinks, quitting a great paying job, getting out of the industry. But she's always been there to support me, and I live a comfortable life today. I've done fairly well. I don't have any mortgage or car payments, and I can go to Taco Bell anytime I want to.
That's good. That's always a plus. Go to Taco Bell when you want to. But either way, thank you very much, Larry, for joining us again today. Thank you, Steve, for being here. As always, we're looking for our next 100 and plus some episodes with you. And as long as you don't fire me, I'll be around. We'll see. I'm on notice. I'm on short leash. And in the meantime, we appreciate all our viewers, and we'll see you soon, Larry.
I appreciate it. Have a great 2023.
All right.
Too, Larry.
Thank you.